Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is August 16th, and right now we are looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. You can see the state of California here. There's the Pacific Ocean. You can see the trough is dropping down into place here off the coast of North America. Already got some lightning strike activity here with these cloud tops, and that's going to be moving in towards northern portions of California, especially across the Eureka and some of the Sacramento and the Medford National Weather Service, and then move up across the Pacific Northwest. We've also got a bit of monsoon moisture down here trying to surge off to the west a bit here. It may be clipping some of southeastern California over the next few days. Let's scroll that into motion, and you can see that upper level low dropping down the coastline here and kind of spawning those thunderstorms, and that monsoon moisture trying to make its reappearance here across some of the area. But we'll look at that. We'll look at the extended forecast. Got some interesting stuff as well in the tropics because we have some systems that may try to move out over the Pacific Ocean. And after this trough, another trough may drop down and start to grab some of that moisture and bring it up across California. Still in the fantasy forecast stage here, but we're going to take a look at that as well. Taking a look at day one thunderstorm outlook. It does include Las Vegas here, but you can see California largely free of thunderstorms today. However, tomorrow you can see there's a severe threat for western Washington, western Oregon, and some of this thunderstorm activity could start off across California as we go through the day on Saturday. That is tomorrow. Now, this is day three. You can see it does clip some eastern portions of California here, just right on the verge of clipping Las Vegas, and does include virtually all of Arizona and Utah. Now, take a look at the elevated fire risk for today. This is windy and dry conditions out there. You can see it, some central Nevada down in towards the southern Sierra Nevada. And look at day two. Actually have some critical burn environments out there across some portions of the Sierra Nevada here. And you can see it does include some portions of Northern California, so we got to watch out for that. I'll show you some of that here, the very last couple of slides as we go through the video this morning. Looking at the lightning flash density here, and this is for today. It was to be Friday. You can see some of that monsoon moisture trying to make its way towards the California border. Can't rule out a thunderstorm or two here or across some of Northern California. Then we scroll on in towards Saturday, and you can see much more coverage here that could include places like maybe Redding, clipping Redding there, and some of the northern Sacramento Valley, the higher terrain, definitely a better chance for some thunderstorm activity. And you can see again, we can't rule out some thunderstorm activity here across some of the desert areas. You see the Salton Sea would be right about here. There's Arizona, Utah, and Nevada. So scrolling in through Monday as well, and you can kind of see that monsoon moisture continue to stream across portions of Arizona up in through Nevada and Utah. Now, taking a look at the North American model, this is the composite reflectivity, and this is what the Doppler radar may look like here over the next couple of days. But you can see we've got some of this monsoon moisture. It does try to bring maybe a shower or two up across portions of Southern California. So you can't completely rule that out as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning. You see that move across some of the desert areas here in Arizona up towards Utah. Then we go through Saturday afternoon, and you can see the next system here approaching Northern California. Some of these would be prolific lightning producers here, maybe some gusty winds with this as well, kind of just off to the north and west of Red Bluff. It shows on the NAM, but it does show some of these showers getting pretty close here also. So taking a look at what's going on. This is the GFS. This is last night's run. We're looking at 18,000 feet or 500 millibars. This is that trough off the coastal areas here, and you can see the big ridge of high pressure here across portions of New Mexico and Texas. And then got this cat and mouse game. That's what we're going to be dealing with here over the next week or two, and it's going to keep areas central Southern California above and some of Northern California below average. So there's that initial one here. Finally lifts up across the Pacific Northwest as we go through about Wednesday here. And then that troughing hangs out for a bit. But you can see the next one gets reinforced. It reinforces the troughing here along the west coast. And this could actually drag up some tropical moisture here. This is what we're watching. So we're going to be watching it for the next few days. It's still a fantasy forecast because we're looking way out there. If I scroll backwards, you can see that trough doesn't start forming until about hour 140 or plus. And so this is definitely going to be changing the models. But you can see that would be an interesting position for an upper level low, even at this time of year. Now, taking a look at the GFS, we're going to take a look at what kind of impacts that could possibly have. So as we scroll through today and tomorrow, again, the thunderstorm activity is going to be apparent along the coastal areas, the mountain regions here, mainly north of the Bay Area, and again, close to Redding and Red Bluff there. And then we scroll on in through Sunday. Now we start to look off into the future. I'm going to play out here, and then you'll see this next system. There it is, the one we've been talking about off the coastal areas. And you can see it start to bring some precipitation up here across portions of California. So no promises just yet, but it could bring some measurable precipitation with it. We'll be watching that one closely to see how that forecast evolves. And we looked at this yesterday as well. This is the 10-day temperature anomaly. You can clearly see northern and some of central California below. Then you get a bit further off to the south and east, including southern California, above average. So if we scroll through this, you can see over the next 10 to 15 days, not much is changing on that front. Pretty good agreement between the European and the GFS model here, because we're going to be dealing with this troughing for at least a week or so. Now, looking across the tropics, they have introduced this 30% chance of tropical cyclone formation in the next 48 hours. So we're going to be watching this one. In the next slide, I'm going to show you where this may end up going. And this is would be down here. So this is California. There's the Hawaiian Islands. Pacific Ocean is here. This is precipitable water. And you can see, of course, how it is. There's much more precipitable water down here across the tropics and the subtropical regions. But as we scroll through here, you can see this potential tropical cyclone right there. That's the one they're talking about. And watch where this goes. You can see that moisture lift northward here, and then there comes that trough that we were talking about, and then it shows two tropical systems out here, and this one kind of gets that moisture entrained into that upper level low and perhaps brought back across some portions of California. So, you know, it's something interesting to watch. No promises just yet. Taking a look at the 6 to 10 day, kind of similar signal there we've been talking about for a couple days now, below average versus above average across some of the southwest, and the 8 to 14 day kind of backing off on the below normal here, but right about near normal for most of California, and 8 to 14 day precipitation clipping some of Northern California. Now, this is the September monthly outlook. This was issued yesterday. You can see we're still scheduled to be above average across a lot of the portions here, but some of the coastal areas here for Southern California, equal chances. And this is a precipitation outlook, not too good for areas, especially New Mexico and some of Arizona still dealing with some drought concerns, so that's not great to see. And of course, we look at the surface smoke every day. Looks like that Boise fire is the main smoke producer right now. The Park Fire is not producing too much. I'm scrolling through a 48-hour time period here, so you can see if you are downstream from these fires here, though, it's kind of a nasty situation. But for the most part, a lot of the state is doing pretty good for this time of year, although things can really pick up rapidly as we head on in towards September and October, as you know if you've lived across the state of California for any length of time. And there's the Boise fire. It went up over 10,000 acres yesterday and grew about 1,600 acres. And it's not good to see. The Hill fire looks like it's stuck at about 7,200, and the Park fire is stuck at about 430,000 acres, the fourth largest fire in California history. So over the next few days, just a heads up here that we do have some windy and dry conditions, as I mentioned here, with some of the critical fire danger, especially on in through tomorrow, and then that activity will continue out there. So just keep your wits about you. It is that time of year. Now, looking at the North American model, you'll see as we scroll through today, we get the typical diurnal wind pattern here as we start to bring some of the westerlies back into some of the valley areas, some of these southerlies and southwesterly winds. But as we go through Saturday, the system's going to pass by mainly to the north, and you can see it really pick up some of the winds across the higher terrain. And that's why that critical burn environment is going to be in place here across some of Northern California, the Sierra Nevada. And then we go on into Saturday night here, and the wind wanes as we go on into Sunday morning. But if we take a look at the cycle here, relative humidity, of course, when you get into the middle portion of the day, afternoon and evening, the relative humidities drop quite a bit. So I'm just kind of scrolling through a 60-hour diurnal nocturnal cycle here, and you can kind of see as we go on in through Saturday, things dry out pretty well with that wind blowing across the region. So that's why we have that fire risk. But anyway, yeah. Fun stuff here. I mean, nice trough coming here. In some areas of Northern California, get a bit of surprise because I don't hear much hype about this activity here across some of the region, but there's definite thunderstorm potential for Northern California with this. This area's been already kicking off thunderstorm activity here. So we'll continue to break this down day by day. We'll be watching that fantasy forecast as always. Otherwise, I hope you guys are having a good day. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.